A quality goal is a quality goal. What are you trying to achieve? What's going on, guys? This is Alex from Part-Time First Sergeant with another 2-minute drill. On this video, as you saw the link, I want to talk about NCOER support form. So right now I'm coming back from my detachment armory going to the main, and this weekend I had both the detachment soldiers and the main soldiers in one room, all the NCOs, and we talked about NCOER support form. We did a NCODP/workshop. One of the things that I realized during this workshop is that some NCOs, especially new NCOs, they've never done this before. Some NCOs might have received an NCOER, but they have never had to set goals for themselves. I kind of took it for granted because on my civilian job in entertainment, their structure is similar to the military, with the exception that we have been doing the equivalent of an NCOER support form for years. I've been with the company for 15 years. During the workshop, you know, I gave soldiers last drill a briefing about the NCOER support form, what I expected from them, and then I gave them a template of ideas, right, loosely based ideas of what they could base their goals around. And then this month we went over and I said, okay, pulled out my papers out of my pocket. It's like, here's my NCOER support form that I have, and I've used it with the commander, right? And this is the one, the commander and I are going to sit down, we're going to agree to these goals, and we're going to go over it every month, and we're going to discuss what I've achieved. I'm going to write it on here, what I have achieved, what I need to still work on, and then I'm going to fold it up. I'm going to take both copies back, right? My copy and his copy that I'm going to carry. I'm going to put that back in my pocket, and then I'm going to carry it with me. So then the following month, I'm going to pull it out of my pocket whenever it has 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I'm going to give him a copy to look at, and then I'm going to go over it again. We're going to have the discussion. So that's the intent of the NCOER support form. It's your counseling. And I directed all my soldiers, all my NCOs, to carry 2 copies. One copy is for their rater to review as you're having a discussion with them. But once you're done with the review, you're getting that copy back, and then your copy that you're going to scribble on, right? Or it can be vice versa. You know, your rater can scribble on the copy that you use for your discussions, and then you collect both copies and you keep it with you. If your rater wants a copy, make a photocopy of the one that you scribbled on, but always keep both copies with you. The point is, because it doesn't matter where you are. You can be at a PHA, or you can be doing your infantry tables in the middle of nowhere. You can always pull out that paper and you have something to write with, and you can put it down on a field desk or on your lap, and you can sit there and like, all right, Sergeant, sir, these were my goals. Let's review them again. These are the things that I've done, and these are the things I need to work on. Have the discussion and start taking notes, right? It's a process, and I've been taking it for granted that setting goals is not something that a lot of NCOs or soldiers have done in the past, because this is newer to the National Guard, right? And it's interesting seeing that going through. What was really enlightening for me, right, because I ended up learning the same amount, as the soldiers, the NCOs did in this training. Because one of the NCOs I reviewed right after the workshop, I came back an hour later, I read my NCOER support form to them, and then I asked if they had any questions, and then I asked if anybody was ready for me to review the support form. And then I pulled it, and one guy said, yeah, I got it, it's an E5. I got it, and I read it, and I noticed that all the goals, most of the goals were surrounding his individual performance. And then I was like, hey, Sergeant, like, it's great that you want to improve your APFT, and I asked him if I could read it for, the class, the workshop. He's like, yeah, go ahead, you can read it out loud. And then I read it, and I was like, Sergeant, this is something it's a good example of a goal that you should not set, but here's an alternative on how you can pivot this goal into a goal that's rank appropriate, right? As a team leader, you have 2 team members. So instead of saying, I want to improve my APFT this year, you can go, I want to increase my APFT percentage by this much, right? And that will be an individual goal. As an SEO, you want to find tools that you can use to increase your personal APFT percentage and implementing those tools to your soldiers to increase the overall percentage for your team. Because what I'm looking for is leadership development. Soldier development is from the team member level. Team leader, squad leader, platoon sergeant, we're talking about NCO development. And if you're a squad leader and platoon sergeant, you are leading through leaders. So you are mentoring your subordinate leaders to lead subordinate leaders. Right now I'm going way too high up, but let's stick with the E5 and E6 level. That's what your focus should be on a support form. Another thing that I noticed, that one of my E6s had a goal that was so vague, I had a difficult time wrapping my head around. Like, I want to do this, that's this, and it's very broad terms, and there was nothing that, not necessarily quantifiable data, but it wasn't smart. Like, I couldn't put my finger on what he was trying to achieve, the outcome. Not necessarily the task, but the outcome. There was no task, and there wasn't a clearly defined outcome of what his efforts was going to result in. He explained to me what he was trying to achieve, and then he tripped up a little bit. He's like, he wasn't sure. I don't know if he was having a tough time explaining what he was trying to get at, and I kind of understood what he's trying to get at, but the goal that he set wasn't going to set him up for success to achieve that goal, the end state, right? Not the accomplishment of the individual goal, but the end state is X, right? I'm going to assault that hill, right? Is a task. The end state is to gain dominance in a battlefield by controlling the hill. See the difference? A task versus the end state? And that's what you got to think about when you're building these NCOER support forms. So I told him, he's like, okay, we're both struggling. I'm struggling to understand, and you're struggling to explain what you're really trying to achieve out of this, and you're getting hung up. You're having a difficult time explaining the specific steps that you're going to take to get there. So then I said, I'll do one better. Let's pretend right now is 12 months forward in the future, and you have accomplished your tasks to fulfill this goal. Explain to me what you did. And then they flipped the table on him. He's like, okay, I get it. Right? Because what exactly can you do to achieve this goal? It doesn't have to be very niche, especially when you get up in the E6, especially when you get in the E7 ranks. It doesn't have to be very niche, but it has to be specific of what the end state is, right? As a first sergeant, let's say I did have an APFT, an individual APFT goal in there. I wouldn't, right? Unless I was struggling with my APFT, but let's say I did. My goal was, say, want to increase my APFT score by this percentage. Discover tools that facilitate M-Day soldiers to follow, right? Tools and programs that would be easy for M-Day soldiers to follow. Reduce the number of APFT failures in a company and increasing the overall APFT percentage average for the company. The end state is that my overall company average needs to go up, and also reduce the number of APFT failures, right? Because the APFT failures, regardless if you have a higher average, a pretty decent average, your APFT failures impacts your commander scorecard. Your readiness management tools takes a hit for soldiers having failed APFT scores, even if the rest of the company scores at 300. So the end state is that the commander has fit soldiers ready to fight, and that his readiness management is increased, elevated by showing fewer failures, right? And also as a little feather in the cap, we increase the average, overall average, the company average for the APFT scores. That's just for bragging rights. That's just for the soldiers are better prepared because they score better on the APFT. Yeah. But the important is we have soldiers that are failing. As a first sergeant, I will absolutely always have soldiers that are failing the APFT, right? For one reason or another. So, and see how the difference is? So, yes, will I improve my personal score by discovering different tools and implementing them on myself? Yes. But that's not the goal. That's not the end state. That's just the means for which I will get to my end state, which is reducing the unit's failure. So do you see the difference? As a team leader, it's a little bit different because you apply direct leadership as opposed to a squad leader and platoon sergeant. You're leading through subordinate leaders. So it's a little bit different, right? You may not necessarily be in the fight because you have multiple teams that you can split, versus a team leader, you should always be working with your team, right? So when the squad leader goes, the alpha team goes there, the alpha team leader, alpha, gunner, assistant gunner, and RTO, they all go there. The team leader doesn't tell the team to go there and then he stays where he's at. He's physically there directing traffic and shooting the gun. There's no difference. But he can do goals to improve his team in the same manner that I could improve my team, my company, as the first sergeant. So you see what I mean? And that's what soldiers struggle, because some soldiers some NCOs have not made the pivot from individual contributors into a leader, right? Setting leader goals, which is improving their subordinates' performance and training and knowledge and skill level, all this other, buzzwords that you can use. They haven't made that transition because they never had to write their own goals. A quality goal is a quality goal. What are you trying to achieve? If you can't visualize the things that you would have done to accomplish that goal 12 months in the future, then you probably need to rewrite that goal, because you're going to struggle to write supporting stuff on the right side of your NCOER support form. And in turn, your rater is going to have a tough time having a counseling session with you, because you won't know what to put there. And in turn, you're going to have a crappy NCOER. Take charge of NCOER by writing a quality NCOER support form. Guys, thank you very much for watching another 2-minute drill. If you haven't seen my videos on promotion and retirement, make sure you click on the videos on the screen below. Also, check me out on social media at part-time first sergeant with the hashtag drill weekend. And let's continue this conversation. Thank you.